All right, everyone. Hi, I'm Raphael. I'm from SimpleFi, and I'm here to talk to you about DeFi porn, because I'm going to be spraying some data. So if you're at the front, take cover. And actually, thank you. And actually, anybody who's of a sensitive disposition, maybe it's time to leave the room because it's going to get heavy. It's going to get heavy, especially as it's porn that's going to talk about apes. But not this kind of ape. This kind of ape. This kind of ape is your typical yield farmer who's discovering how much profit he's made when he's using SimpleFi. So this is the kind of ape we're going to be talking about. You can tell from his expression, it's good. So just a little bit of context before I get to the porn part. We're all DeFiers at SimpleFi. And typically, if you want to get a good, honest day's work, what you're looking at is APYs, right? Maybe you go to CoinGecko, you look at the, do I have a laser on here? No. You look at the APY that any given pool is giving you, and you ape in. But the problem is that after a couple of weeks, you look at the money that you have left, and you realize that APYs are total bullshit because you've lost all your money. So while you were really excited about it, actually, you've lost everything. And that's because APYs, as you know, are just based on the current token prices, on the current reserve prices, and they give you absolutely no data on what's going to happen in the future, right? The APY can be 1,000% today, it can be 1,000% tomorrow, but in between, you've lost half your money. So really, we set up SimpleFi to answer the question, how am I doing? How am I actually doing with my returns? And it's actually not that easy to do. Because if you're a typical degen and you're yield farming, these are the steps that you have to take to actually calculate your ROI, right? So if on the yield farm itself, at the yield farm level, you're going to have to look at the current price of the reward token. You're going to have to look at the historical price of the reward token if you claimed some to know when you realized those gains, right? And you need to know also what was the historical price of the LP token that you staked at the moment that you staked it, which takes us to the liquidity pool. Because you can't really talk about ROI on a yield farm without looking at the underlying return or loss, the profit or loss from the underlying liquidity pool. So in order to look at that, you need to look at what the historical price of the LP token was. You need to look at the position in the returns because of the reserves, because the reserves of any given liquidity pool can vary a lot. And if you're staking only part of your liquidity pool, then you need to aggregate what you've staked and what you haven't staked. And then to figure out the price of the LP token anyway, you also have to look at the price of the underlying assets on a historical basis, right? And then after all of that, you still have to take into account the gas costs, especially if you're doing DeFi on Ethereum. So these are a lot of steps that you need to do, and that's why a lot of people don't bother doing it, right? Who here has either coded something up or is managing this on their spreadsheets? I see no hands. I don't know if you're shy. Oh, you do the spreadsheets, right? It's a pain in the butt, right? Yeah. So it's hard enough for one person to do it, but if you want to do it systematically, it's really hard to scale that up. So the way that we're doing it is actually using the graph. And the graph has a lot of advantages. It means that programmatically, something like SushiSwap, for example, has a factory model, so you can just catch all of the pools across SushiSwaps and the farms and start indexing all of that data, the historical reserves and all of this stuff. And what's also really interesting about the graph is that anybody can create a subgraph for their own DeFi protocol. So you don't actually need to wait for us to integrate with SimpleFi and give ROI data to your users. You can just create your own subgraph and do it that way. And it's actually quite easy to do. So you just go visit docs.simplify.finance, and I promise you'll have a good time. It's well explained. We've got some walkthroughs. I know I'm teasing you. I'm getting to the porn. But I just need to run through a few other things first. So just to recap, the full architecture of SimpleFi is that we have our subgraphs, So Rari Capital, for example, is right now building a subgraph for their protocol, right, on SimpleFi, so they can give the ROI data to their users. Anybody can build that. We have price feeds that are coming from various sources. We pull everything into a backend that does all the indexing and also does all the ROI calculations, and then we serve that through an API that goes into the Simplified Front End, but that anybody can use as well. So that's better. So the Simplified Front End looks something like this. For any given liquidity pool, you'll just be able to go in and see how much you're making from the liquidity pool, but also what you're making from the connected yield farms. So if you've ever wondered if the rewards that you're making from yield farming are compensating for your impermanent loss, you just use SimpleFi and it gives it to you in one go. So, wait. Now, I went too fast. Now for the porn, for the data porn. There we go. So at SimpleFi right now, we're tracking 95,000 tokens, including composite tokens like LP tokens and things like that. 55,000 DeFi markets. We've got 30 million pricing data points. And we've got 60 million subgraph entities as well, which is a shit ton if you've done subgraphs. And that's only on ETH mainnet, and that's only with the current protocols that we're integrated with, like Sushi, Uni, Curve, StakeDAO, MStable. As I said, Rari is coming. So that's the porn part. If you want to use SimpleFi, it's really simple. We're going to launch the beta in just a couple of days. Scan this, go onto the Discord channel, type /waitlist, and you'll get your access code as soon as it's ready. I'll come back to this in a second because I'll also explain to you how you can get an NFT. So, just a few more things before, there we go. I get to the end really quickly. ROI calculations are not the only thing that SimpleFi wants to do. SimpleFi actually wants to simplify your DeFi life. So the first thing you can do is check for your ROI, which funds, which of your investments are performing or not performing. The next steps on that are just integrating as many protocols as possible. Please come and contact us if you want your protocol to be indexed. We can help you with building your own subgraphs. It's really simple, relatively simple. And the next step is also going into the layer 2s and EVM compatibles, right? So you go in, check whether you're making a profit or a loss, what's performing, what's not performing. And then the second part, which is going to come at the end of this year, is how to optimize your portfolio. Because of all of the data that we have, we can tell you other pools that are returning more, or we can tell you other accounts that are investing more or less like you, and what they're invested in, what you should potentially look at. And the possibilities on that are endless. We'll do some predictive analytics next year and all kinds of funky stuff that you can build on as well. And then the final thing that we're building is the ability to, well, you've seen what's not working. You've got some suggestions on how to optimize your portfolio. So just one click, beam into the pools that are recommended so that you can optimize your portfolio. So that's the whole roadmap. Here's that QR code again. So now you can scan it properly. Also, once you're on the Discord, go to the announcements channel and look for the announcement where you can get this beautiful Lisbeth NFT right here. You just have to put in your Discord handle and the Polygon address, and we'll do the drop in a few days. And you'll have this one as an animated character. And eventually, maybe we launch a token. Maybe the NFT comes in handy at that point, perhaps. I don't know. And if you want to get in touch, here are our contact details. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, I'm open to listening to them.
Hi. Yeah, cool product, cool stuff. I like the optimization part. I think you are also tracking historical data, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so my point is, I see that, I understand from your presentation that you have like around 5, 7 platform integrated, right, in one chain. Me, as a yield farmer, I have 100 platform. How are you going to solve it with historical data?
Okay, so this is the whole point of integrating with the graph, actually. What I was saying is there's nobody, I think, that can keep up with the scale of innovation that's happening in DeFi right now, right? So we've integrated the main ones. We keep integrating, but what we're hoping to achieve here by visiting here is to let people know that they can just very easily create a subgraph for their DeFi protocol and immediately offer the benefits of ROI calculations to their users. And we've got like a ton of walkthroughs. Anybody can create the subgraph. You give out the grant, get a community member to build the subgraph. We've got everything for them to do it. We're going to start integrating layer 2s. A lot of them are forks. So that's how we want to stay up to date. Thank you.